Welcome back to Weekly Briefing. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki continued to cover for Joe Biden's surrender to the Taliban, blaming Pentagon officials for not telling Joe Biden about the risks.
I'm not going to get in specific details of who recommended what, but I would reiterate a little bit of what I conveyed before, which is that there were recommendations made by a range of his advisors, something he welcomed, something he asked them to come to him clear-eyed about, to give him candid advice. What is also clear, though, and I'd also note again what Secretary Austin said today, is that was not going to be a sustainable over the long-term troop presence.
What's your reaction, Jim?
Well, after 20 years, how could it not be sustainable in the long term? We were already there. Also, 2,500 troops, isn't that, we were already down to troop levels approximating that. They're just trying to cover up this incredible failure. And note that Jen did not say that they didn't give this advice, just that he got a range of advice. So they did give him this advice. And he said, well, I didn't get it that I can recall. It's because he doesn't remember. Well, that's a problem, too. But, I mean, this was their failure, and they have to own it.
I think you're exactly right. Malik, what do you think?
Yeah, so not surprising to me. And again, we have more mixed messaging coming from not just the press secretary, but the administration in general. It's a difficult thing. We've been in Afghanistan a while. War is not pretty. But, fortunately, I think we're probably, maybe in 2024, if we have a different president in office, things will be different when it comes to our engagements. Because for all intents and purposes, Donald Trump was not that guy when it comes to, we need to just stay in these, stay in these entanglements for years and decades. He was actually against it, and I think if Donald Trump were president, things would have been handled differently in Afghanistan. I do believe we still would have gotten out, but things would have been handled much differently than what they're doing now.
Right, so, a conditions-based withdrawal. Yeah. But Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller has served 17 years as an infantry officer, and in August published a video online in response to the Afghanistan bombing and murder of Marines. He was critical of the administration.
You can see open source reporting that there was an explosion and some people were killed. I know through my inside channels that one of those people that were killed was someone that I have a personal relationship with. We won't go into more details because the families are still being notified. Not making this video because it's potentially an emotional time, making it because I have a growing discontent and contempt for my perceived ineptitude at the foreign policy level, and I want to specifically ask some questions to some of my senior leaders.
Ouch.
And Lieutenant Colonel Scheller was arrested on September 28th and has been held in the brig. Terry, what's your reaction to his arrest?
Well, first of all, it's shocking and jarring, and it's a total turn from how whistleblowers were treated during the Donald Trump administration. One thing that's very concerning to me, though, is the fact that he's being held without charges. So that means that he's basically a political prisoner.
Right.
We now have a Gestapo, USSR, Soviet-style regime where we can just arrest whistleblowers like this. It's very concerning. But what I will say is that we need a hell of a lot more people like him who are courageous enough to speak out and suffer consequences to turn this country around. And we're seeing this more and more every day from the school board level all the way to the federal government. People are stepping out. They're sick of this regime, and they're standing out.
Donna, what do you think?
Listen, this is, this administration has given the signal that people that don't share their vision will be held accountable, will be reprisals. And so having this young man come forward and say this is the only opportunity he may ever get, because they're more concerned about their wokeness in targeting conservatives than they were about the strategies they needed to perform to actually do a successful withdrawal.
Right.
So, I think that it's wrong for them to hold him, but I think that people would not hear the fact that somebody needs to be accountable without individuals like him.
I think that's right. I do think that if he had gone as a former Marine Defense Counsel, I cringe at this story because he did violate orders and he did go around the proper procedure for doing things. And I also think your point is right, that if he had done it the proper way, it would have been buried. And we see, as Jim had mentioned during the break, that Vindman, who came and spoke out against President Trump, is now on a book tour and is now writing all about how bad President Trump is. And we've got Lieutenant Colonel Scheller held without charges, or held for quite some time without charges anyway. So It seems to be quite the double standard. But all right, it is time for the lightning round. Here we have 3 minutes and give the panelists each 10 seconds to answer and get through as many questions as possible. We'll start with Malik. Will a criminal investigation by the Arizona Attorney General finally draw attention to the fraud that took place in Arizona?
Unfortunately not.
Interesting. Okay.
I agree with Malik. I just don't see the courage coming out of some of these elected officials right now.
I think the press will studiously ignore it.
Irregardless if they ignore it, listen, as an auditor, the controls were fraudulent and people will recognize the fraud in it, and I think that something will come out of it.
Interesting. Attorney General Brnovich, nobody has confidence in you. Okay, do celebrities think that speaking out about getting vaccinated is helping their cause or hurting it?
I think what celebrities have found out that depending on which side of the argument you're on, you will get canceled.
I actually think they're just doing it to promote themselves and show their fans that they're really, really good people who care about saving grandmas.
And they're super woke.
Yeah, I really don't listen to celebrities, so.
I see you on TikTok all the time, Jim. What do you mean?
Look, celebrities are full of fear. They're worried about their career. They're scared to speak out about it. But shout out to, the ones that are coming forward, like Nikki, that are saying, listen, don't believe what they're saying.
Okay, who is really in charge of the country right now? Who's running the White House?
Oh, gee, we haven't seen her, so I'll say Susan Rice.
Interesting.
Wow, I think that this is basically Obama's third term.
Okay.
It's continuation of it.
I don't think they know what they're doing.
I don't know. Camilla is like, where's Waldo? I'm trying to figure out where she is. She's not running it. Obama's
She's
Biden's
hiding.
not
Yeah, she's
running
like
it.
the girl in the bathroom at the party who's like waiting until the opportune moment to come out. Okay, will Chris Cuomo see any repercussions from the Me Too movement?
I hope, but probably not.
Okay.
He's totally going to get justice. I mean, he's going to get totally destroyed. They're going to handle him just like they do everyone else.
Cancel him, right.
Yeah, he should say some Hail Marys like Fredo Corleone.
Yes, he is, because CNN's ratings are tanked, and they got to get a new broad of, something in there.
All right. Well, don't go anywhere. When we come back from the break, we cover this week's panel's choice and see which topics they thought were important. We'll be right back.